This is the eufy E28 Omni robot vacuum and mop combo. I just wanted to share my experience with this in case anyone else is considering it. I have used a lot of robot vacuums over the years, and my main reason for trying this one was pretty simple. I wanted something that could handle everyday dust and pet hair, but also deal with the sticky floor moments that happen in real life without me babysitting it. I have hard floors, a couple of rugs, and furniture that is not always robot-friendly. I also have the kind of messes that show up randomly, like tracked in dirt, crumbs after cooking, and the occasional spill that turns into a tacky spot. What makes this unit feel different in daily use is not that it vacuums and mops. Plenty of robots do that. It is the way the dock and the mop system behave together. It is clearly designed for people who want to touch the robot as little as possible between cleanings, and who still want the floors to feel like they were actually mopped, not just wiped with a damp pad. Physically, it looks clean and simple. Matte black, not flashy. The robot itself feels dense when I pick it up, like it has some weight to it, and it does not feel hollow or flimsy. The base station is big, and I noticed that right away when I tried to decide where it would live. It takes up more floor space than a basic self-emptying dock, so if you are in a small apartment, you will care about that. In my space, I made room for it near an outlet and it has been fine, but it is something you plan around. Setup was straightforward. I plugged in the base, filled the clean water, and followed the app prompts. It took a few minutes to get it connected, but I will mention one practical detail. It only works on 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi. In my house, that is not a big issue, but I had to make sure my phone was on the same network during setup or it would not finish pairing. Once it was connected, I ran the first mapping run and it built the map quickly. I did not need to babysit it, but I did walk behind it for part of the run just to see how it behaved around chair legs and cables. In daily use, the biggest difference for me is how it handles mopping. The dock holds clean water and dirty water, and the robot does not just drag a pad across the house and call it a day. While it is cleaning, it goes back and rinses the mop and keeps going. That matters because it changes the feel of the finished floor. My kitchen is where I notice it most. After cooking, I usually have tiny oil spots or sauce splatter that dries down and gets sticky. With a lot of robot mops, I can still feel a slightly tacky area when I walk barefoot. With this one, when it detects that a spot needs more work, it will slow down and pass over it again instead of moving on like it did not notice. I tested this on purpose with a small smear of peanut butter and a bit of jam near the edge of my kitchen. I normally would not let a robot near that because it can turn into a bigger mess. It took multiple passes and it was not instant, but it kept at it, and eventually the spot was gone. What I liked is that it did not just spread it across the tile. The self-cleaning behavior is also very real in day-to-day life. After a run, it returns to the dock, empties the dust, washes the mop, and then dries it with warm air. That drying step sounds minor, but it is what keeps the mop from smelling like a damp towel. I have owned robots where the mop pad stays wet and starts to smell after a couple of days. Here, I do not get that odor in the room, and I do not feel like I need to remove the pads every time. Vacuuming performance has been strong in my house, mostly because it picks up what I actually see on the floor. Fine dust along baseboards, crumbs in the dining area, and pet hair on the rugs. I have one rug where hair likes to embed, and older robots tend to leave it behind unless I run them on the highest suction every time. With this one, I still sometimes use the stronger suction on that rug, but I do not feel like I have to do it constantly. It also does a better job with long hair than some of the robots I have used. Hair still exists, obviously, but I am not spending my weekends cutting a rope of hair off the roller. It does a reversing motion that helps feed hair into the bin instead of letting it wrap around the brush. There is also a side arm that sweeps toward the main path, and it helps in corners and along edges. I noticed that in my hallway, where dust usually collects along the wall. It is not perfect, but it is more consistent than robots that leave a thin line of debris behind. One part I did not expect to use much is the portable deep cleaner built into the dock. In practice, I have used it more than I thought. Real-life messes do not always happen on the floor. My dog brought a muddy toy onto the couch, and I was not going to drag out a full-size cleaner. I pulled the portable unit out of the dock, attached the tool, sprayed a little water, and it pulled out the dirt. I have also used it on a mattress spot and on the stairs. It is not the same as a heavy-duty carpet machine, and I would not pretend it replaces one for large areas. But for small spots and quick cleanups, it has saved me time, and it is convenient because it is already there. Navigation has been reliable. It uses a camera and sensors to avoid objects, and I can tell it is making decisions instead of just bumping around. In my home, it usually avoids shoes, cords, and pet bowls. It still has moments where it nudges something light like a sock, but it is less clumsy than older robots. The map in the app is easy to understand, and I can send it just to the kitchen after dinner or set areas it should not enter. I also like being able to adjust how wet the mop is depending on the room. For my wood floor area, I keep the water use lower. For tile, I let it use more water. The app itself has been stable for me. I mostly use it for scheduling and for selecting rooms. After a cleaning run, it gives a report and shows where it went. I do not obsess over the reports, but they are helpful when I want to confirm it actually cleaned the room I asked for. Voice control exists, but I still use the app most of the time. A couple limitations have shown up. The robot is a bit tall, so it cannot fit under some of my lower furniture. I have a low cabinet edge and a couch that it just cannot clear. That means there are a few strips of floor I still hit with a normal vacuum occasionally. The base station is also large, like I mentioned, so you need a real parking spot for it. I also wish the wireless connection requirement was more flexible, because if your home network is set up only on 5 GHz Wi-Fi, you will need to adjust that. Battery life in my place has been enough to clean my main floor area in one go most days. When it does need to recharge, it goes back and continues later, and that has been hands-off for me. The dust bag in the base lasts a long time in normal use, especially if you do not have a lot of shedding. I still check it, but I am not emptying it every week like I did with older robots. Noise has been reasonable. On normal settings, I can run it while I work and it does not bother me. On maximum suction, you will hear it, but it is still a steady vacuum sound, not a harsh rattling. The dock does make noise when it empties the bin, but it is brief. Overall, this has been a practical cleaning setup for my routine. It is for someone who wants to vacuum and mop regularly, does not want to constantly rinse mop pads, and likes the idea of having a small portable cleaner available for furniture and spot messes. It is not perfect for very low furniture, and it needs some space for the dock, but the day-to-day experience has been consistent. My floors feel cleaner with less effort from me, and that is really the point. If you have any questions about how it handled a specific type of floor or mess, leave a comment and I will try to help. If you want more real-world reviews like this, subscribe to the channel and let me know what you want me to test next. Thank you for watching.